Hello children, I welcome you back to our virtual learning session. Today we are going to study the branch of social science, that is economics. In our last lecture, we did study about economics, chapter number 2, where we dealt with the topic people as resource. Now, how people are important for a country, how they are acting as a resource for the growth of the country. This was the vital factor which we discussed in the previous lecture. So going ahead, let us have a quick recap of what we have understood about the conceptualization of the topics that we have done in the last lecture. Plus, we are going to see much more information regarding people as resource. So let us slide ahead. This slides open up with our topic's name, people as resource. So we will have a quick recap and review of what we had studied in our last lecture. In overview, children, we understood how people, the citizen of a certain country, should be treated as an asset rather than the liability. What is an asset? We discussed in the last lecture. Asset is your investment. You know, if you invest now, it is going to grow up in some certain years and it is going to give you profit. It is going to pay back you in a much more profitable manner. So for a country, its population should be treated as an asset rather than the liability. What do you understand by liability? Responsibility. For example, if a councillor has been elected in your area, his prime job is to see that particular area that falls under him as his own asset, because it is only of the people of because of whom he is on the seat, he is on the designation where he is now. So only because of them he is been designated over there. So he has to see the people as an asset, because only when he will invest on them in a more proper manner, if he is going to look after that people, the particular area people, those who come under his area's category, if he looks around the overall development of the citizens falling under his zone, say it the educational way, say it the medical way, everything gets into consideration. If he treats, this all things in the much mature way, if he deals in a much mature way and treats the citizens as his asset rather than the liability, along with them, he is the man who is going to grow. If he is, successful in budging up by imparting his faith on those people obviously will not let down the person who is supporting them. Clear? So if the particular man, the counselor, is investing on his people, along with the people, he is also going to grow. But instead of asset, if he is treating them as liability, for example, if the poor people in the slum area, if they are suffering with some particular problem, say water problem, if he comes there to have a visit, if he sees just as a liability, he will just instruct the person to look after it and he will go away. He will not make it a point to come and see whether the water work has been done or not done. No. He was just responsible for visiting once and that's it. So this is called liability. You're just trading, okay, for today my work is over, it's over. But if you are going to treat that particular situation as an opportunity for gaining faith from the people, if you're really going to work upon that particular problem, if he is going to invest his time for the problem to get solved, the water problem, the drinking water problem to get solved, the people will definitely remember him for years, and this will help him for his next tenure, for his next time to be voted for the same designation or for the designation above it. So when you treat people as an asset, they give you back the same form instead of treating them as a liability. So we just discussed, I just gave an example of the same. Then we saw the story of Sakal and Vikas. Sakal and Vikas were two thick friends. We all knew that. What was the story about? We have discussed this in our last chapter. Sorry, in our last lecture. Earlier was the story of Sakal. We read that Vilas and Sakal were living in the same village in Semapur. Sakal was a 20-year-old boy. His mother Sheila looked after the domestic chores, and his father Bhuta Chaudhary was an agricultural. He worked in the agricultural field. He was a farmer. While Sakal also helped in the domestic cause of his mother, right? Bhuta Chaudhary, he knew that his son Sakal was very intelligent. Clear. So even Sakal, he had his uncle named Sham who passed the 10th standard, and he was sitting at home. So even though he has completed his 10th standard, even though he was a resource, he was not the human capital of the country, because he is not giving any output as a citizen to the country. Who? Sakal's uncle Shyam, correct? So he had a brother and sister. Clear. Sakal had brother and sister Jitu. Brother is Jitu and sister is Situ. They insisted him to study. So Sakal went to the school nearby the village. He started studying and completed his highest secondary examination as well. And to make him study further, his father took loan. And taking loan helped Sakal to do his studies further, continue his studies further as well. So Sakal was meritorious and interested in studies from the beginning. With great vigor and enthusiasm, he completed his course. After some time, he got the job in the private firm. He even designed a new kind of software. So this story, we discussed it earlier as well, right? I hope you all remember, children, where his skill actually gave him the end product. Correct? What was his skill? He learned software engineering. He learned to design the website, and the product was he helped the organization in growing up. The organization who hired Sakal, he actually designed a website for that particular firm, private firm, and his boss was very happy with him, and he promoted him as well along with the salary hike. So here we see that Sakal is not only the man who is growing. There are 4 people in this scenario where Sakal, his manager, the organization, plus the country, because Sakal obviously pays tax through his salary, his manager too pays, correct, plus the organization has a major responsibility of paying tax to the country. So all these 3 taxes are being benefited to the country, where the country is growing along with these people. But on the other side, where we saw the story of Vilas, he was Sakal's friend. He was 11 years old. So Vilas's father, Mahesh, was a fisherman, and he passed away when Mahesh was 2 years old. So his mother, Geeta, she sold fish to raise the child, to raise Vilas. She bought fish from the landowner's pond and sold it in the nearby mandi. She could earn only 150 rupees a day by selling the fish, but this was not enough to actually survive. So even this boy Vilas, he was not interested in studies as well. So he did not go to school, and due to that poor earning of his mother, he fell into the prey of disease called arthritis. He was not able to get cured because they had no money. So after some time, Sakal's mother, Vilas's mother, she felt ill. After she felt ill, Vilas was forced to do the same job, that is selling the fish in the same village. So here you see this boy had no growth, right? His mother could not support him because of the financial conditions. Plus, what the mother earned rupees 150 is the same what Vilas is earning. So his income is meager, but meager is mediocre, very low. Where Sakal, on the other hand, he was the son of the farmer, plus his father invested in his studies, where Sakal actually studied very hard and he was appointed by the private firm. So in these two stories, we can see the example of person as an asset and person as a liability, where Vilas is been seen as liability and Sakal is been seen as an asset. Clear? We had a quick revision, children. Let us slide ahead to see what this lesson has more to offer us. Let us go ahead. So this slide opens up with economic activities by men and women. Let us study in detail. Like Vilas and Sakal, people have been engaged in various activities. Vilas, where he was with his mother while she sold the fish, and he did not go to school because he was not interested in studies. On the other side, where Sakal was the son of a farmer, where he indulged in farming as well, plus he helped his mother in daily chores, and along with that he came with extraordinary colors in studying. So like them, we have people, those who are engaged in various activities. We saw that Vilas sold fish and Sakal got a job in the farm. The various activities have been classified into three main sectors, that is primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sectors. Primary sector includes agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, poultry, farming, mining and quarrying. Manufacturing is included in the secondary sector. Trade, transport, communication, banking, education, health, tourism, services, insurance, etc. are included in the tertiary sector. So you see the three different sectors being bifurcated, primary, secondary and tertiary, where we have seen the occupations coming according to the sectors. The activities in this sector result in the production of goods. Economics always deals with production of goods, children. It deals with the production of goods and services. These activities add value to the national income, as I just spoke to you in the last slide, where the growth of Sakal will not be counted as individual growth. Along with him, his manager, his organization is growing simultaneously together. Clear? So this gives the value to the national income. The country is earning too. These activities are called economic activities. Economic activities have two parts, market activities and non-market activities. Let us see the market activities. Market activities involve remuneration to anyone who performs, that is, activity performed for pay or profit. These include production of goods or services, including government service. Market activities where one has got job, where they can perform with their skills, indulging in the activities that has been assigned to them by the company. Let us see the non-marketing activities in our next slide. So here you saw about the primary, secondary and the tertiary sector, how the particular result of you as an individual is actually benefiting to the national income of the country, right? So these activities add value to the national income. So these particular activities are called economic activities. Now in economic activities we have two parts. You have to remember that: market activities and non-market activities. Market activities where you are doing job, non-market activities where you have self-indulged yourself, means self-employment. Clear, children? So let us slide ahead and see the non-market activities. So let us see the non-market activities. Non-market activities are the production for self-consumption. A farmer is a self-employed person, right? So he produces for self-consumption as well, plus he is going to sell his produce, the surplus produce, to the market as well. So both these come under economic territories, where one has been classified as market activities, the other is classified as non-market activities. These can be consumption and processing of primary product and on account production of fixed assets. So as we discussed, he produces for himself too. He does not have to buy anything from outside, right? Because he is creating it. So this can be consumption and processing of primary product. Processing, consumption and processing is what? If the farmer is growing wheat, for example, he is consumption. Consumption means he is having, okay, for eating he has kept aside. And processing of primary product. Primary product is your wheat, is your first product, is your primary product. And on account production of fixed assets. And on account production is what? If he is producing, say, 50 quintals of wheat in his farm, from that he is keeping the 20 quintals of wheat for himself, and remaining 30% he is selling off, because it is the surplus thing and he is selling off. So here it comes, the 20% comes under consumption, and the rest 30% comes under the production of fixed assets. Because if he is going to sell, he is creating a fixed asset for himself. He is not dependent on anybody. Clear? Due to historical and cultural reasons, there is a division of labor between men and women in the family. Due to historical and cultural reasons, historical is the patriarchal thinking that has been carried out through centuries. What is that? Women will stay in the house, cook food, and they will see after the children and the elders, while men will go out and earn and bring money to the family. This is the historical and cultural thing that is been going from centuries and centuries. So due to historical and cultural reasons, there is a division of labor, division of work between men and women in the family. Women generally look after domestic chores. Domestic chores is what? Doing your food, utensils, your washing your clothes, everything. Domestic chores, and men work in fields. Sakal's mother Sheila cooks food. Sakal is the boy who in the story, right, where he became a software engineer. So Sakal's mother Sheila cooks food, cleans utensils, washes clothes, cleans the house, and looks after her children. Sakal's father Bhuta cultivates the field, sells the produce in the market, and earns money for the family. Sheila is not paid for the services delivered for upbringing of the family, but Bhuta earns money which he spends on rearing his family. Rearing is looking upon his family. Women are not paid for their service delivered in family. So it is very true. No mother is being paid. The household work done by women is not recognized in the national income. It is not been recognized. We all know this. Where in the other case, Geeta, mother of Vilas, earned an income by selling fish. Thus, women are paid for their work when they enter the labor market. Their earning, like that of their male counterpart, is determined on the basis of education and skill. So their earning, like that of their male counterpart, is determined on the basis of education and skill. It directly gives us the viewpoint of being educated. The comparison of men and women is always been seen in each and every sector. Clear, children? So in marketing activities, we have seen I gave you example of farmer. We had an example of 50 quintal, where 20 quintals has been with the farmer for the self-consumption, and 30% if he sells, it becomes the account of fixed asset. Clear? Where we saw that mothers are not being paid for the work they are doing at home, and their work is not being considered as national income. And in place of the other example, where Vilas's mother Geeta, she earned an income by selling the fish. Clear? So let us slide ahead to see what more this lesson has to offer us. You can see the example of non-marketing activities I've just given you. These are the activities that a person does themselves, such as painting your house instead of hiring a painter. This is an example which I have given you. Clear? So let's slide ahead. So in the previous slide, we just had the discussion about the differentiating between the men and the women, and this is happening through centuries, children. We all know that, but this has not to happen actually, because skill is equal to everyone. Acquiring the skill in every aspect does not have to bring the physical aspect into picture always. Let us see what this slide has to offer us. Education helps individual to make better use of the economic opportunities available before him. What do you mean by this? Education helps individual to make better use of economic opportunities. Economic opportunities, for example, say if you have bang on knowledge about the stock market, stock exchange, correct? So if you have that particular skill, you know where and when to invest, where to invest your shares. You know how the market value of the company is growing. Clear? How the Sensex falls and rises up. If you are well versed with that, you can invest your shares and get back your profits in a much good manner. Okay, so what helps you? Education helps you to make the better use of economic opportunities available in front of you. Education and skill are the major determinants of earning of any individual in the market. Education and skill, very important. It is very necessary. Not only you are educated, but you are skillful. For example, if I have done B.Ed, and B.Ed qualifies me as a teacher, okay, but if I do not have skills to put on my knowledge in front of you students, if my concept is not been through to you students, I cannot survive in the market. Nobody is going to hire me. So skill and education should go or must go side by side. You should always and always improvise your skills. Keep oneself updated all the time. So education and skills are the major determinants of the earning of any individual. Earning of any individual, children. Clear? if you have scored good marks in your exams, but if you are told to perform any activity for the marks you have got, if you have completed your engineering degree and automobile engineer you say, and if the client asks you to just present the design of any automobile, and at that particular point of time the practical skill comes into emergence, and at that particular time if you are not able to perform that activity, there itself it gives a negative feedback. So education very important. Educating means to shape, to design your skills. Clear? Taking a degree will never fetch you a job. It is as simple as that. You have to be skillful. A majority of women have meager education, less education, and low skill formation. Women are paid low compared to men. Most women work where job security is not there. Various activities related to legal protection is meager. This is the case where women are not allowed to study much. Clear? As we saw the example of Vilas' mother Geeta, she was not educated. That is the reason she sold fish. She earned a low, meager income, right? So the women like that have majority. They are majority in our country. Various activities relating to legal protection is meager. Employment is in this sector is characterized by irregular and low income. In this sector, there is an absence of basic facilities like maternity leave, childcare, and other social security systems. So you can see in the right hand side, I have posted a picture where the women are working as laborers to construct the building. Here, they do not have any basic facilities like maternity leave, or their child can be taken care somewhere, or social security systems as well. Whenever we visit any construction site, we can see the small children of these laborers are with them. They keep on playing in the mud. Clear? They do not have any security system. If they do not come to work, they are not paid. Clear? So they lead a very difficult life because education matters most. This is the first reason you have to give importance to education, and while educating you should not actually feel education is just for namesake. Never ever. That becomes liability. Best example, if you study only for namesake just to pass your 10th and 12th, but you have not acquired anything from your 10th and 12th, you are just a liability because you have not taken responsibility of your own self. Clear? So you have just treated as yourself as the liability. Okay, only 10th and 12th passed, okay, let us see ahead. But when you really invest yourself in your 10th and 12th by acquiring the knowledge, you are creating the asset in yourself. Clear, children? While you are creating an asset in yourself by choosing the areas which you want to enter to, when your goals and plans are so very clear, you choose whether you want to do BCom, BA or BSc or any other field you want to enter to. Correct? So only when you invest in yourself, you can come out in colorful colors. Very good example. However, women with high education and skill formation are paid at par with men. Yes, so where the education, women are highly educated, they are paid much than men or same as men. Among the organized sector, teaching and medicine attract them the most. Organized sector where the women most preferably they go into teaching line or they go to the medical field. Some women have entered administrative and other services including job. that need high levels of scientific and technological competence. So women are not nowadays, substantiated to something, children. No, if they are left to attain their goals. We have seen scientists from years, Kalpana Chawla. We have Dr. Kiran Bedi. These people are exploring eminent examples of the existence, a substantial form of women. You can take example of Bachendri Pal, who climbed Mount Everest. You can have Sudha Chandran, where she lost her left leg, but by having a procedure done, she proceeded to Bharatnatyam before she entered to the field of cinema. Clear. So these are all the inspirations where you can take, and women really do come with flying colors. Clear, children? So I hope you understood this particular slide. Let's go ahead and see what is more to see. So this slide takes us through quality of population. What do you understand by the quality of population, children? Quality of population comes under the concept about how educated you are. Population is the general word that includes both skilled and unskilled people. Clear? So the people who are skilled, who contribute to the national income of the country, and those who are considered as human capital, contribute to the quality of population. The quality of population depends upon the literacy rate. Health of a person indicated by life expectancy and skill formation acquired by the people of the country. So, the quality of population depends upon the literacy rate, that is your educational qualifications. Clear. Health of a person indicated by life expectancy. Health of a person plays a very, very major role. Clear, children? If you are well educated and if you want to purchase, say, home loan. If you want to purchase home and for that you're going to go for loan, first your age has been taken into consideration before anything. It is only dependent upon your age, how much loan can be processed to you. After that comes your salary. Clear? So if you have to contribute to the quality of population, health is more important along with your educational qualifications and your skills. Life expectancy and skill formation acquired by the people of the country. The quality of the population ultimately decides the growth rate of the country. We just discussed the quality of the population obviously decides the growth rate of the country, because only if the people grow, the organization grows, the country grows. Literate and healthy population are an asset. Coming to education. Sakal's education in the initial years of his life bore him the fruits in the later years in terms of good job and salary. We just now discussed in the last slide where I gave you an example about the standard 10th and 12th, where either you are treating yourself as a liability or are you investing in yourself, you're taking into consideration of yourself as an asset. So here they have told, as Sakal studied very well in his early standards, it gave him the fruits, where you get the good result in the later form, in the form of good job and good salary as well. We saw education was an important input of the growth of Sakal. Education played a major role, plus his skills too played a very vital role. It opened new horizons for him, provided new aspiration and developed values of life, where he got the exposure of the new field. He got to learn about more things, how the corporate world works, how the behavior comes into consideration when you sit in front of the people belonging to the corporate world. So there is a learning of the values as well. Not only for Sakal, education contributes towards the growth of society also. It enhances the national income, cultural richness, and increases the efficiency of governance. As we learned in our last class, you can set example to your people who actually live with you. Clear? So it enhances the national income, yes, cultural richness. If you earn good, you can live well, and increases the efficiency of governance. There is a provision made for providing universal access, retention, and quality in elementary education with a special emphasis on girls. So let us see what is the provision. There is also an establishment of pace setting of schools like Navodaya Vidyalaya in each district. Vocational streams have been developed to equip large number of high school students with occupations related to knowledge and skills. Vocational streams means what? If a child is done 10th and 12th, clear, vocational skills are the skills where they shape your interests. For example, if a girl has done a 12th, but her interest is in to learn tailoring, clear, in stitching, in embroidery, so this comes under vocational streams. If somebody wants to learn how to repair mobile, how to repair the TV, this all comes under vocational streams. This gives you the opportunity of being self-employed. Clear? So vocational streams have been developed to equip large number of high school students with occupations related to knowledge and skills. The planned outlay on education has increased from rupees 151 crore in the first plan to rupees 3,766.90 crore in the 11th plan. The expenditure on education has a percentage of GDP rose from 0.64% in 1951-52 to 3.0% in 2015 to 16 and has remained stagnant around 3% from past few years. Stagnant is same. The literacy rates have increased from 18% in 1951 to 74% in 2010 and 11. So you can see the increase in the literacy rate from 18% to 74%. So obviously taking this all steps will add to the national income to the country. Even if a person is employed or self-employed, he is contributing to the national income of the country. He has been considered as the human capital of the country. Clear, children? So let us slide ahead. So here you can see the importance of education, where I have pasted a picture of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is every child in this country has the right to education, and Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, where compulsorily and free education is been given to the child till 8th standard. Clear, children? Let us see. Literacy is not only a right, it is also needed if the citizens are to perform their duties and enjoy their rights properly. So literacy is not only a right, getting educated is not only a right, but if you take education into the most compound form, it is also needed if the citizens are to perform their duties and enjoy their rights properly, because education gives such power. However, a vast difference is noticed across different sections of the population. Literacy among male is nearly 16.6% higher than females, and it is about 16.1% higher in urban areas as compared to rural areas. So in the villages, we can see the literacy rate of girls is lesser. This should be actually reprimanded, and girls should be given way to get good education and come out with different flying colors. In 2011, literacy rates varied from 94% in Kerala to 62% in Bihar. The primary school system has expanded over 8.58 lakh in 2013 and 14. Unfortunately, this huge expansion of schools has been diluted by the poor quality of schooling and high school dropout rates. Here you can see, even if the schools are been expanded, if there are a number of schools opening too, but the education that has been provided to the children are poor. The quality of education is poor, and that leads to the high dropout rates, that is high failure rates. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is a significant step towards providing elementary education to all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years by the year 2010, as we discussed before. It is a time-bound initiative of the central government in partnership with the states, the local government and the community for achieving the goal of universalization of elementary education. So over here, universalization means everyone should get universal, equal education till standard 8 at least. Along with it, bridge courses and back to school camps have been initiated to increase the enrollment in elementary education. Midday meal scheme has been implemented to encourage attendance and retention of children and improve their nutritional status. These policies could add to the literate population of India. So this particular initiative, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, was been taken by the central government in the year 2010, and the reason behind taking this was every child, be it be of any area, be it be the urban area or the rural area, every child has to get the opportunity to have the elementary education. Clear? Now, government schools and even the government schools have implemented this particular system, and midday meal has been provided to the children. For example, if the parent is very poor and he or she could not afford food for the child, for that government has taken the scheme, midday meal scheme, where the children are being provided with good food, and this was implemented to encourage the attendance. If midday meal was provided, children used to happily come to the school to learn and even have their meal as well. That gave the improvement in their nutritional status, their nutritional value. So these policies could add to the literate population of India. Due to this, at least for to have the midday meal, children would definitely come to school, and for that, before getting the meal, they are being indulged in studies and been provided by the meal. So this idea was to implement for that, so that at least some population would be educated, they would be literate in India. Let us slide ahead. The 12th plan endeavored to raise the country's gross enrollment ratio, that is GER, gross enrollment ratio, in higher education in age group of 18 to 23 to 18 to 23 years to 25.2% by 2017 and 18, and to reach the target of 30% by 2020-21, which would be broadly in line with world average. So our government is very severely working to achieve the gross enrollment ratio for the higher education of the children. The strategy focuses on increasing access, quality adoption of state-specific curriculum modification, vocationalization, and networking on the use of information technology. So, the strategy, this particular plan focuses on increasing the access. Access is more reach, quality adoption of state specific curriculum modification. Every state has different syllabus, so according to the happenings, every state has to work upon the modification of the curriculum to update the syllabus. Vocationalization, which we just studied in the last slide, whatever skills you are upon to, you like to do, whether it's tailoring, repairing, or any other thing, you are been given training for that, physically also, practically also. You get a certificate and you can be self-employed, or as well as you can be employed by doing the vocationalization course. And networking on use of information technology. For distance education matters a lot, where the online classes are been provided for the children. Today, even today, because of COVID-19, we are meeting in the virtual manner. So this is the strength of information technology. The plan also focuses on distance education, convergence of formal, non-formal, distance and IT education institutions. Over the past 50 years, there has been a significant growth in the number of university and institutions of higher learning in specialized areas. So, education is reaching everywhere through IT, through information technology. We can see there is a growth of number of universities and institutions of higher learning in specialized area. We have National Institute of Open Schooling, where lakhs and lakhs of students get enrolled for their secondary or higher secondary because of the less school fees, and they provide much vocational courses to learn. Clear? So in this complete session, we have learned about how population is considered as quality, where humans are being considered as the asset of the country rather than the liability. Then we studied about Vilas and Sakal, how their livelihood mattered them a lot when they went ahead. Then we saw the educational strategies of the government as well, education, importance of education and skills in the market as well. We saw the strategies of government as well. We saw the growth of the literacy rate. We saw the growth of the schools as well. And we studied the 12th plan, that indulged in the gross enrollment ratio as well. Clear, children? So I hope you have understood each and every slide in this particular lecture that was taken. Going ahead, we will be meeting for the same chapter, part 3, where we will see how health matters the most in the survival of producing income to the country and being identified as the national income. Clear, children? Let's go ahead. Until I meet you next time, I hope you revise everything that we have learned from the starting people as the resource. Clear? Until we see next time, you keep safe, stay safe, keep fit, and take care. Thank you, children. Take care.